Alright. Which stream? Twitch. There's Twitch. Cause of one. Stream. On. Audio. Working. Good. Stream up, chat up, notes up. We're all good to go. Shouldn't have to wait too long. Attendance isn't going to be all too stellar tonight. I think we've set that 14. Well, full-timers and 2 reserves should be. Checking attendance again. I'll poke reserves in, just waiting on, yeah, Stubley, and he's not racing, so okay, 13 it is then. A shame. Real shame. Quite a neat little racetrack to watch racing around, but anyway. We'll make do with 13. Feel like this proved to make an interesting race last week, so here's to hoping for something similar. Ready up signal has been given. Hey, there's the bot. Good on bot. There's the timer. When that hits 0, start up the intro as per normal. You know how it goes. Hello everyone and welcome to round 14 of the AM1 Championship here on Contest of Speed. I'm Lane Everingham, your commentator for this event, and this time we're competing at the Hungaroring for the Hungarian Grand Prix. This nifty little circuit was created in 1986 and has been a permanent round of the Formula One World Championship for almost 40 years. Given the nickname of Monaco without the walls, this is one of the hardest circuits to try and overtake. Although this is undoubtedly true, the Hungaroring has been the home to several of the more fascinating races in the history of Formula One and tends to be one of the more well-respected circuits in the racing community. It measures up at 2.72 miles and consists of 14 corners and 2 DRS zones that lead into the prime overtaking spots of Turn 1 and Turn 2. Major hotspot areas the drivers will have to worry about include the demanding corners of Turns 4 and 5, as well as the high-speed S's that form the majority of the middle sector. Being a relatively short circuit, and a well-used one at that, qualifying should hopefully be fairly competitive. But before we touch more on that, there is a little bit of news to go through first from the previous race at Las Vegas. Now, there hasn't been any final confirmation about steward reports from last week. I'm not even sure if there were any to begin with. I didn't see any. But judging from the events that happened in last week's race, I wouldn't be surprised if there were incident reports submitted in. But I've checked the Discord, I haven't found anything. There is updated standings though. We got Vermoo, who is now our driver's champion, sitting on 240 points. Silkweaver still in P2 on 127, so 113 points between the top two. That's too great a margin to claw back with the rounds that we have remaining. So Vermoo, our driver's champion for this season. Kryptonic is P3, just 12 points behind Silkweaver on 115. Saint just behind him on 111, followed by Red Devil on 108. Rounding out the top 10, we have Schulz on 100, followed by Mindset on 89, then Electric Blade on 62, Bad Fast on 46, and Mr. Duval, after getting his first podium of the season, jumps into the top 10 on 41 points. In the Teams Championship, it is Mercedes leading the way on 340 points over Haas, who are on 220. And I think with the amount of rounds that we have remaining in the championship, I think Mercedes have also wrapped up the Teams Championship. I'll have to do some quick math throughout qualifying and the race just to try and work that out. But Mercedes are very much in the driver's seat if they haven't secured it already. AlphaTauri next on 146, followed by Ferrari on 128, then Red Bull on 119. P6 is Williams on 110, followed by McLaren on 97, Aston Martin on 64, Alpine on 61, and Alfa Romeo at the bottom on 38 points. Mr. Warren here is about to begin a flying lap. Might ride on board with him, give you a tour of this 2.72 mile Hungary circuit. Down towards turn 1, braking up the 100 meter board, and you're down to third gear, down to second in fact. It opens DRS again and heads towards turn 2. A tricky little corner, turn 2, a corner where you want to try and avoid that inside curve if possible. You'll head around turn 3, you'll pass the Haas of either Mindset or Kryptonic. That's the first sector. We now head into the left-hander of turn 4, up towards turn 5. Bring it down to fourth gear, back on the power. We now head up towards the chicane of turn 6 and 7, braking just before the 50 board. Down to third gear as Mindset retires from the session, so we'll be starting from the back. I'm not sure what happened to him, but he's definitely out of qualifying. Bit of a slide as we exit turn 9. We'll head around the left of turn 10, then the right of turn 11. A very tricky corner, very easy to invalidate by running wide at corner exit. Around turn 12, which is a sneaky little overtaking spot if you get a good run out of turn 11. Around turn 13, the penultimate corner of the racetrack, and now the final turn, turn 14. Nortec sets the benchmark at 16.9. Warren will open DRS. He'll cross the line himself to set a 17.698. Just over 7/10 slower than Nortec. We've got Red Devil out on track. Hungary out on track as well. Same with Mr. Brody. We'll be looking for a turnaround here at the Hungaroring after the events that took place at Las Vegas. German crosses the line to set a 16.9. Cheesehead, a reserve driver, a new reserve driver if I'm not mistaken, goes to the top with a 16.666. Vermeer on a set of medium compound tyres. I'll be curious to see how close he can get to the representative time set already. He's making his way around turn 10 and the critical right-hander of turn 11. Keeping the car within the white lines, that's the most important thing. If you just run that little bit wide, the game won't hesitate. It will give you a warning and it will ruin your flying lap. Third gear, around turn 13, and then up to fourth, then back down to third. Interesting. For the final corner, revving it out in every gear, he crosses a line, jumps up to provisional pole position with a 15.9 on the medium tyre. Hunga jumps to P2 with a 16.2. I see he's an AM2 driver. Well, he's not doing too bad at the moment. P3. In front of some, our regulars. Several of our regulars. Schulz on a flying lap, heading up towards the first sector split. We'll make our way around turn 4, then up towards turn 5. Oh, and he's invalidated. Deary me. Now, judging by when the circuit turned red, I'm guessing he ran wide at the exit of turn 4. Okay, so that's what happened to you, Mindset. Is that also why you came to a stop at the exit of turn 2? I did notice a Haas coming to a stop there. Pretty certain that was you. Well, that's a shame. Wheel troubles. Taking you out of qualifying. Thankfully, the attendance isn't terribly high tonight, so starting 13th isn't the worst thing in the world. Still a bit of work to do, no doubt, but it could be substantially worse. Wing it, getting very close to invalidating the lap there at turn 9. Out of turn 11... I see. Fair enough. It seemed like you were pulled over for an awfully long time. Short shift up to third gear, up to fourth gear. Now around the final corner. Keeping in fourth. That's what I tend to see around this final turn. Vermeulen dropped it all the way down to third as Wingett sets a 17.9. He goes slowest of all so far. Red Devil, he appears to be on a flying lap. He's up by 1/10 of a second to the first sector. Around turn 9. Nice and tidy. Through the left, then the right. 6th gear. Keeping 2 wheels on the right side of the white line. Currently up by 5.5 tenths, so he's looking to jump up to P2 here. He heads around the penultimate corner. Will he bail on the flying lap or will he complete it? He's going to complete this lap. Back onto the main straightaway. He'll over DRS and cross the line. He only jumps up to third, improves by 4 tenths, but he ended up losing 1/10 of a second through that final sector compared to his PB. But his final sector looked pretty okay, so his first lap through that final part of the lap must have been pretty spot on. Kryptonic pole lap, eh? I'll keep an eye on your teammate. See how he does. Well, Warren having another crack at a flying lap, heading down towards turn 1. A few yellow flags and traffic tries to sort itself out. Down towards the left-hand sweeper of turn 2. Bring it down to 4th gear. Back on the power, down to 3rd in fact. Back up through the gears as we head through turn 3. Flat out right-hander. Up towards the first sector split. The clock says Warren is up by 0.08 of a second. Nice and tidy through turn 4. But you have to be careful with that inside curb at turn 5. Touching that thing can result in the car spinning out. Bit of an auto spin curb. It always has been, even when I started league racing back in 2019. That inside curb at turn 5 has always been notoriously nasty. Out of turn 11 up towards the middle sector split, he's up by 4.5 tenths. With this sort of improvement, he'd be looking to jump up to about P7 or so. Just needs to keep it tidy throughout this final sector. Kryptonic's just started a flying lap rather. He's making his way around turn 1. Schulz is on a flying lap as well. Crossing the line, Warren will set a 17.3. Lost a little bit of time in the final sector. Kryptonic heading up towards the first sector split. He's down by 1/10 of a second. Schulz, apparently purple to the first sector according to the minimap. See how he fares over the course of this flying lap. Up towards the chicane. Down to 2nd gear. Short shift up to 3rd. Down the left of turn 8. Up towards the right of turn 9. Down to 4th gear. Short shifts up to 5th. The back end slid out just a little bit after the apex. That's why he had to straighten the steering out. He might have lost a little bit of time doing that. Around turn 12. Short shifting up to 3rd gear. Hitting the apex in 2nd. Drop it all the way down to 2nd gear. Then another short shift. He's doing that just to try and get a little extra rotation into the corner. Then you short shift to make sure you don't over rev the car and potentially light up the rear wheels as Schulz jumps to P2 with a 16.094. So about 1/10.5, just over 1/10.5 separating the top two. Got Saint out on track and McLaren getting out of the way. They'll be mindset on an out lap. Saint making his way around turn 11. Up towards middle sector split. Apparently purple. Hello, Alpine. What on earth? It's Brody. Gee whiz. I don't know how you pull that off at the entry to turn 12. Yeah, okay. Bit lost on that one. Saint will cross the line and jump up to provisional pole position with a 15.505. I'm pretty certain it's just muted for you, I suppose. I think everyone else can hear. Schulz, he's on an in lap. Hunger heading up towards the first sector split. Is he on another flight? No, he's not. Red Devil about to begin a flying lap. Down the main straightaway towards turn 1. He'll shift it up into top gear. Building up to a speed of 192 miles an hour. Bring it down to third. Back on the power. Had a few cracks opening DRS there. Open it once, then shut it again. Then he had to open it for a second time. Down the hill. Round turn 3. Up towards turn 4. Clock says to the first sector. He's up by 34 thousandths of a second as we head around turn 5. Up towards the chicane, brings it down to third gear. Back on the power, nice and steady. Head around turn 8, fourth gear. Both apexes pretty spot on through there. Around turn 11, sixth gear. Bit of modulation with the throttle. He's up by 62 thousandths to the middle sector, so not a huge improvement. He won't be challenging the top 4 unless he really strings together this final sector. Around the final bend, down to fourth gear, back on the power, eventually reaches full throttle just before the outside curb. Crosses the line, and he found a mountain's worth of time through that final sector. Found 4/10. He jumps up to the front row with a 15.875, missing out on pole position by, what's that, just under 4/10 of a second. The move on a set of soft compound tyres, heading up towards turn 1. Really fascinated to see what the move can do here. He's done a 15.9 on a set of mediums. So what can he do here on the soft compound tyre? We'll head down towards turn 2. Down to third gear, back on the power. Eventually reaches full throttle. Just before he got close to that outside curve at turn 2. Clock says he's up by 1/10.5. Oh! The inside curve at turn 4. He cut a little bit too much and the car bottomed out. Instantaneously straightened the car out. So less than ideal run through turn 4. He appears to be still pushing, but I wouldn't doubt he'll just go back into pit lane, put on another set of tyres, and get back out there again. Still up overall. Shows you the pace difference between mediums and soft compound tyres. Yeah, he'll be going back into pit lane now. He's just invalidated the run. Cheesehead appears to be going back into pit lane. Switchback's out on track. Brody out on track as well. They're both on out laps. The first of which to attempt one appears to be Brody. Alpine driver, currently P9 with a 16.9. See what he can do. 3.5 minutes left in qualifying. So if Brody makes a mistake, there'll be enough time to have another crack at a flying lap. It's not a particularly long lap in terms of time here at the Hungary. Turn on the battery shortly. Well, it took his time right until corner exit to turn on the battery as he sends it down the main straightaway towards turn 1. Top speed we'll see here, 194 miles an hour. One of the higher top speeds that I've seen in qualifying. Down towards turn 2, up into 7th gear. Drops it back down to 3rd. It's back on the power and heads down towards turn 4. Turn 3 rather. Up towards turn 4. Clock says to the first sector he's up by 3.5 tenths. That sort of improvement alone, he could maybe jump up 1 or 2 places. To try and crack into the top 5 though, he needs to improve by a serious amount of time. Round turn 5, round turn 8, round turn 9, round 10, and up towards turn 11. Clock says to the middle sector, Brody is up by 0.5 of a second. That's a better improvement. Still needs to find a bit more though to try and get up into the top 5. Exiting turn 13, up towards turn 14, down to 4th gear, back on the power, and back onto the main straightaway, crossing the line. It's a 16.4, it's P7 for Brody. Schulz on the flying lap as well, making his way around turn number 9, round 10, then 11. Clock says to the middle sector he's up by 2.5 tenths. So he's looking to try and jump back up to the front row. Needs to find a lot of time here in the final sector to try and take pole away from Saint. 1 corner to go, turn 14. Drop it down to 3rd gear. Short shifts up to 4th. Back onto the main straightaway with DRS open. He'll cross the line to set a 15.883. Good enough for P3. Can't quite snag P2 though. Red Devil still holds that. Saint getting ready. Devil getting ready. Same with Vermouth. The first driver to try and attempt a flying lap will be Red Devil. He makes his way around the final corner. Turn on the battery, open DRS and head down towards turn 1. Shifting up into top gear. Braking hard, down to 3rd. Back on the power. He'll open DRS and head down towards turn 2. Hungary on the flying lap as well. He's making his way out of turn 5, heading up towards the tight chicane of 6 and 7. 3rd gear. A lot of modulation of the throttle through that chicane. The Alpha looks sturdy, it looks stable. Red Devil couldn't quite catch what he did to the first sector. He's making his way around the notorious turn 5, heading up towards the chicane. Braking hard down to 3rd gear, back on the power. Nice and easy with the accelerator. Hunger is down by 0.2 of a second, so he needs to string together this final sector pretty well to try and improve in terms of time, let alone in terms of position. He'll cross the line to set a 16.1, does not improve. Schulz goes back into pit lane. His qualifying session is done. Up towards the final corner. Down to 4th gear. Back on the power. Heading back onto the main straightaway. Devil will cross the line. He'll improve by 2.5 tenths. It's not enough for pole though. Vermouth's done. He's invalidated his final flying lap. Saint is improving. Out of turn 13, up towards turn 14, the final corner. In 4th gear. Reaches full throttle eventually. He'll open DRS and cross the line and improve by 1/10 of a second to set a 15.406. Nortec finishes his qualifying lap. Jumps up to P8. Wingett, currently down in the middle sector, invalidates in the final sector. So his qualifying session is done. So that's it. Saint will start from pole position here at the Hungary ring with a 15.406. Just about 0.2 faster than Red Devil in P2. Looking at the rest of the grid, we have Schulz in P3, followed by Vermouth in 4th, who did that time on a set of mediums. Hunger in P5, followed by Cheesehead, Switchback, Nortec, Brody, and Warren rounds out the top 10. We have Wingett in P11, followed by Kryptonic, and Mindset, who had a wheel failure at the beginning of qualifying, will start from the very back in 13th position. There we are. Not a bad qualifying session. Not bad at all. Yeah, not bad. Time for the main race. Race time, Hungary ring. Oh, I'm trying to remember to the last league race I did here. What were the strategies like? That's right. Now, Hungary ring's a fairly interesting circuit when it comes to strategy. One race I did here as a commentator, there was about 3 or 4 different strategies you can try and pull off. You can try and do a 2-stop, do a soft, medium, soft, or something like that, and it's exceptionally fast, but you are sacrificing a lot of track position by pitting twice. The more traditional way to go is something like a medium hard or hard medium strategy. That tends to be the strategy you want to go with the majority of racetracks in this game. However, with one of the races I did commentate here, the driver that won ended up doing a soft medium strategy, and it basically involves the driver doing 15 laps on the soft tires and do the remaining 20 on mediums. Now, it's a hell of a stint that you're required to do on those soft tires. Essentially, you have to try and get within DRS range of someone who's on a harder compound that can last longer and sit in their DRS for ages. That way you can maximize lap time on those soft tires. Yep, absolutely. Soft medium is very viable. Very, very viable. Oh, alright. Race time. Driver shouldn't be too far away from getting ready, hopefully. It does take a little while for everyone to get their setups. Make sure they got the appropriate amount of fuel in the car. Is this racetrack? Do you burn a lot of fuel here? I think you might. If I remember from races past, I think you do burn a little bit of fuel around here. And with the low numbers, I expect the safety car to... Look, typically with lower numbers, you don't tend to see the safety car as often. It doesn't mean it's impossible. So...
Well, I called Mum just before, and Dad's gonna ask supposedly both of us when he gets home. She said.
Man, it's taken an awfully long time. There we go. 5 red lights. And we're underway here at Budapest. It's a nice start from the front row. Some nice starts further back as well as we head down towards turn 1. Almost 4 wide action, heading towards the first corner. The move down the inside. Can he pull it off? Yes, he can. He moves up into P2. Shaw's down to P3. All running wide, I think it's Brody. Around is someone. It's Hungary. He's out of the race. Crashing out. Cheesehead's involved. And we have a safety car. Deary me. Safety car is out. Well, said earlier that with lower numbers, there's a less chance of seeing that safety car. Doesn't mean it's impossible, and it's definitely not impossible. Hunga, he has left the session. Fair enough. There you go. And what do you know, it's very scrambled in terms of tyres. We got 1, 2, 3, 7 on the mediums, 3 on the soft tyres, and 2 on the hard compound. They're properly scrambled. I wonder if we'll have any takers to pit lane. Of course, Cheesehead will come in to get that front wing replaced. Brody's coming in. He might have a little bit of phantom damage on that wing. Come in and pit for a set of hard tyres. Away he leaves. Set of hards as well for Wingett and Cheesehead. Well, he moves on to an extra set of mediums. Interesting. So in terms of position changes, bit of scrambling up and down the order. Vermoo up 2, Kryptonic up 6, Warren up 3, Mindset up 4. Driver has lost the most is Cheesehead, he's down 6. Obviously involved with that incident with Hungary on the opening lap. In terms of stops, Brody, Wingett, Cheesehead making a pit stop. So yeah, a bit of drama on the opening lap. Before Hungary out of the race straight away. Still got a long way to go from here to the checkered flag. Everyone is caught up now, if I'm not mistaken. Don't think we'll get a late call from the safety car. We'll be doing one more tour around the racetrack. And the leaders will take control. We'll get back under green flag conditions shortly. Still need to do just one more lap. Oh, hang on. Got to take us to pit lane. I'd rather take her to pit lane. Mindset's coming in to get off those hard compound tyres. Who's set to go onto? There appears to be a set of mediums. On they go, away they leave. Onto a set of mediums. So we only have 3 hard runners. Remove Switchback and Brody, 2 on the softs. Kryptonic and Mindset, so both Haasers on the soft tyres and everyone else on the medium compound. Alright. Get through the S's, and once the safety car reaches the final sector, get back under green flag conditions. Alright, safety car is in this lap. So lights go out, it takes off. So it's down to Saint to restart. Take it nice and steady. Might turn on telemetry just to see when he goes. There's Vermoo and Schulz behind. Now initially Vermoo probably won't be as quick as Saint, because Saint is on the grippier medium compound tyre compared to Vermoo on the harder compound. The final corner. The nice controlled restart. Vermoo's in the tow. You can see as well Saint using the overtake button for that extra speed down the main straight. Down into turn 1. Vermoo has a look, but does not fully commit to the move there. Loses the back end ever so slightly. No, a controlled start from our front runners. Red Devil in P4, Switchback P5. As we head down the hill and around turn 2. Up towards turn 4, Kryptonic on the soft tyre. He'll be looking to be aggressive. Try and utilise the grip of those soft tyres. He's a little bit wide there though at turn 4. Cheesehead and Wingett changing places for 11th and 12th. So a bit of action further back towards the tail. But in the mid-pack and towards the front, it's a fairly tame restart. Mindset going a bit slowly there at the exit of the chicane. Losing time. Has he got an issue? Has he got a missing end plate perhaps on that front wing? He looks awfully slow. He is missing an end plate on that front wing. So he runs wide. Cheesehead and Wingett go through. Mindset will need to make a pit stop to get that front wing fixed. Out in front, it is Saint leading the way. He's making his way around the final corner and back onto the main straight. He now begins lap 5 of 35 here at the Hungaroring. Down into turn 1. 7.5 tenths the margin. Schulz Almost a second behind. Nortec overtakes Brody. That's for P8. We get down into turn 2. Leaders are all line astern. Nortec 1.2 seconds behind. Mindset coming out of the pits on fresh tyres. New front wing on the car. Through the chicane come the leaders. 9/10 of margin. A bit of a moment there from Vermeulen as he goes out onto the grass just a little bit. Round turn 10, round turn 11. Up into the final sector. Tonic still stuck in the middle of the pack, unable to find his way through just yet. I'm assuming he's aiming to go long on those tyres as Warren runs a bit wide there at the exit of turn 13. Saints out in front, setting fastest laps. Kryptonic heads down towards turn 1. Still not quite close enough to get by the reserve driver of Switchback. 8/10 the gap between the top two. Saint maintaining that margin, but not extending it by a huge amount. Might see a bit of a pace difference through the middle sector, where those medium tyres should be substantially better. Around turn 5, the gap increases a little bit, up to 8/10, decreases a little. Through the chicane, turn 6 and turn 7. Vermeulen actually got quite a nice run through there, was able to gain almost a 10th on Saint. Gains a few more tenths throughout the rest of this middle sector. So Vermeulen's car, it's pretty well hooked up through that middle sector. It's got a lot of grip, even on those hard tyres. Saint just doing the best he can, trying to keep the recently crowned Drivers' Champion at bay. Up towards the final corner. A long sweeper of turn 14 and onto the main straight. 6/10 the gap between Kryptonic and Switchback. The gap shrinking, but not by enough. Cheesehead gets by Brody. Yellows are out. It's Mindset. He's around at turn 11. Oh, and he puts it into the wall. Well, dearie me, that might be a safety car. It is a safety car. So in his efforts to try and recover that thing, he gassed it up, lost control and put it into the barrier. So there we go, 2 retirements down. Down to 11 cars left, and we've still got a ton of laps to go. In fairness to Mindset, it appears that he was having wheel trouble in qualifying. He might have got done over there. I wouldn't be terribly surprised. Does anyone come into pit lane? I feel like it's just a tad bit early for any takers. Although I'd be tempted if I was Vermeulen, maybe even Switchback, to get off those hards and onto a set of mediums. And then do 2 medium stints from here to the end of the race. Kryptonic is coming into pit lane. This does make a bit of sense to get off these soft tyres. They're probably not the greatest feeling after 6 laps. And set of hards ready for Nortec. Set of hards as well for Kryptonic. Lane leaves. So a couple of takers then to pit lane, both putting on brand new sets of hard compound tyres. They would have to do 28 laps from here to the checkered flag. Now a couple of those laps will be done behind the safety car, so they won't cop as much tyre wear compared to racing conditions. But that's still a very long stint to be done. But I think at this point, with how the numbers are sort of falling, this race will be more about survival than outright pace. Still got bits and pieces of blue sky around the racetrack, so it's going to remain dry for at least a little bit longer. We are set to have any rain. Don't think we're going to have any rain. That's a fair point, Mr. Duval. Considering how much pace fresh tyres give you, especially around Hungary, and yeah, I'd imagine these fellas who have elected to pit right now will probably get caught up very quickly, especially by these front runners who are still yet to make a pit stop. Yeah, that's a very fair point. Alright, should be doing one more lap then behind this safety car, then we get back under green flag conditions. Hopefully the rest of the race remains pretty well uninterrupted. Anything else to look at? Not really. Field is still properly shuffled. It's going to be even more shuffled later on, once more drivers make pit stops. And we're going to have more people watching this than people driving in the race. No perfect timing. We're going to get back under green flag conditions with only 11 cars left. We'll see how the race unfolds, eh? Got a long way to go from here to the checkered flag. Got strategies to unfold. Drivers bunching up, creating a car park. Get back underway very, very shortly. Same will send it out of the final corner. Make his way down the main straightaway towards turn 1. Get us back under green flag conditions and begin lap 10 of 35 here in Hungary. Down into turn 1. Midfield are behaving themselves as they head through the first corner. Brody under attack from Wingett. We head down towards turn 2. Brody should have the inside line. He should be in the dominant position. The two make a little bit of contact. The McLaren gets a bit unsettled, and as a result he can't keep the fight alive and stays down in P9. And front, Saint losing ground to Vermouth as he heads around turn 5 up towards the chicane of turn 6 and 7. Over the curves, nice and easy. We head towards the left-hander. Brody gets by Cheesehead. That must have been done at the chicane. Had to have been done at the chicane. Well, that's a nice move. I didn't catch that, but that would have been a hell of a move. He genuinely pulled that off. Round turn 12, then down towards turn 13. Gap sits at 5.5 tenths. We won't be too flustered about that, as Kryptonic now gets by Wingett. Same with Nortec, right round the outside at turn 13. He'll give himself the inside line at the final corner and take P10. 8 tenths the margin between the top two. Jules in P3, Red Devil P4. Further back, Cheesehead and Brody battling away into the first corner. Brody on the outside line, Cheesehead down the inside. Who has the longer legs? It appears to be the Ferrari, but that Alpine has the inside line. It's tight. It's very tight. They both come out of turn 2 unscathed. Or Kryptonic got onto the grass there at the exit of turn 2. That Haas kicked out just a little bit sideways. Keeps control of the car, stays in P9. Brody down to 8th place. Hard-fought battle through the first sector. Most important thing is that both cars are still running. A little bit of a moment there for Brody out of the chicane as the back end of the car stepped out. Here are your leaders then. Saint and Vermouth, half a second the margin. Down towards turn 13. And the third gear. And the power eventually reaching full throttle. Down to third gear. Switching on the overtake. DRS is now enabled. Vermouth in the slipstream closing the gap. Not by enough to attack the race leader. Schulz hovering in P3, looking comfortable. Kryptonic and Brody changing places. The Haas goes down the inside. The Alpine fights back. Doesn't quite have the traction though to compete with Kryptonic. The Haas driver moves up into P8. Vermeulen applying pressure to the race leader as they head around the left-hander of turn 4. Nortec overtakes Brody, so the two Alpines change positions. Vermeulen heading into the chicane. Turn 6, turn 7. Right on the back of Saint. Feel like it's only a matter of time before we see a change for the lead. Vermeulen will be able to set it up down the main straight. Get the move done into turn 1. Switch back a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So the first driver to get a time penalty today. Only 12 laps in. I wouldn't be surprised if a few more drivers ended up copying time penalties. They are fairly easy to get around here. Especially at corners like turn 4 and turn 11. Nortec, oh, what's happened here? Into the pits comes Kryptonic. Cheesehead is around. That's a very nice flick spin there, to be perfectly honest. Well executed. As Kryptonic gets a 5-second for speeding into the pit lane, so it's only getting worse then for the Haas driver. Set of mediums bolted on and away he leaves. A lot of catching up to do. Whoa, Cheesehead. Kicking the thing out sideways at the exit of turn 1. Wing it sitting in behind Brody as we head round turn 4 up towards turn 5. Oh, Brody. The car getting loose. Keeps it under control though. Red Devil hunting down Schulz, who runs wide at turn 11. Heading down towards turn 13. The Devil he's a bit too far behind now to try and line up a pass. Vermeulen, is he close enough to try and attack the race leader? Half the second is the gap. Lap 14 has begun. Down towards turn 1, Vermeulen is not close enough. Stay behind. Red Devil doing the same. Nortec getting close, looking down the inside. Dives it in, gets it done. Passes Warren for P6. Vermeulen 5.5 tenths behind Saint as we head up the hill, round turn 4. Up towards turn 5. Into 4th gear on the power. We'll head up towards the chicane of turn 6 and 7. Down to 3rd gear. Reaches full throttle. Back on the brakes. Back up to almost full power. Hovering at about 80% throttle as soon as he got past the apex at turn 8. He's got a lot of confidence in this car. Round turn 12. Up towards turn 13. Yellow's out. It's Brody. And we have another safety car, this time for a completely destroyed front wing on the front of Brody's car. The resulting debris has caused the safety car to come out. The move's coming in. Schulz is doing the same. Might be an ever so slight double stack then between the two teammates. very slight. New hard tyres on Schul's car. We come out in front or behind Red Devil. Red Devil leaving his pit box. Oh, Red Devil gets in front. So that slight hold up in pit lane for Schulz has resulted in Red Devil getting in front into P4. Very nice. Warren Wingett. Cheesehead Brody. Whoa! Attempted pass there. Kryptonic getting a front wing change, serving a penalty, putting on some new tyres. Alright. Kryptonic comes back out. Got a fair bit of catching up to do on mediums. Might burn through his tyres just ever so slightly, but with the amount of laps remaining, I think he should be able to get those to the end. Saint though, oof, properly on the back foot. Unless he bites the bullet now and pits, which he does, he might have missed out on the opportunity to pit. Lap before, Nortec elects to stay out. In comes Saint then. Move on to what? Set of hards is what he's going to move on to. And he's going to come out damn near behind everyone. Oh, unfortunately, Mr. Duval, I feel like Saint really didn't have a choice in this particular situation. He could stay out, but then he's a pit stop behind everyone, or he can bite the bullet, go to the back, and try and recover. So he elected, rather than rolling the dice and hoping that he can save his track position, he decided to just come in and try and recover. See, luckily when the safety car is out, the field bunches up, so you have an opportunity to try and recover as many places as you can. The tricky bit is, well, around a racetrack like Hungaroring, it is pretty difficult to try and pass. But Saint's a capable driver. He'll be able to make moves. Just needs to keep his head screwed on, not do anything silly. But in terms of a race win, yeah, it has gone a bit out the window. Yeah, don't think it'll work like that, Mr. Duval. I feel like with the situation that he had, is probably the way to go. Considering as well, he was on medium tyres or well aged, he would have to pit in about 5 laps or so. In which case, he would drop right to the back, about, oh, goodness knows how far back, about 15 seconds or so behind the next car. So he has to regain that time and pass everybody. Alternatively, he can pit now, lose the track position, but be right on the back of someone right as the green flag is dropped, be able to make your way up through the field. I think Saint just been dealt a bit of a bad situation. I think because he went past pit entry when the safety car came out, so he wasn't able to pit on the same lap as everyone else. So, anyway. But Mr. Nortec on 9 lap old hards is going to be a bit of a sitting duck. Yeah, he could have thought that other people would stay out with him. That is another option. He might have had the opportunity to pit, but didn't take it, under the assumption that everyone else behind him was going to stay out. But I equally feel at this point in the race, when you're 17 laps in, you got to come in for something. Unless you've only come in recently for fresh tyres and you don't need new ones. He had to do something. Safety car in this lap. Alright, Mr. Nortek, you control the field. Backing everyone up. Allowing the safety car to go back into pit lane. Alright, Mr. Nortek. See what you can do. Building it up nice and steadily as we head around the final corner. Almost reaches full throttle. There we go. Turns on the overtake. And we're back on the green flag conditions here at the Hungaroring. And Vermeux's on the attack straight away. Doesn't want to wait. He dives it down the inside. Nortek cuts him off though. He's not making it easy. But with the grip of those fresh medium tyres, there's very, very little that Nortek can do. Further back, some shuffling going on midfield. Brody going around the outside. Oh, a bit of a moment for Cheesehead. He goes straight into Brody. We head around turn number 3. Running wide is Saint, I believe, or Warren. One of the two Red Bulls. I think it might have been Warren. So a bit of contact further back towards the front. There was some aggression, but it was kept under control. Tonic unable to find a way through. Vermeux already with 1.4 seconds in hand. He's driving off into the distance. As you'd expect on those fresh tyres, on those fresh mediums. Schulz down the inside of Red Devil. He wants his P3 back. Contact between the two cars. Ah, that was a bit of lag, I think. Switchback looking around the outside as well in the AlphaTauri. He'll give himself the inside line here at turn 14. Tries to draw alongside the Williams, but can't quite do it. Can't get in front. Cheesehead gets in front of Wingett, who pits. Must be for damage. Switchback closing in, looking to the inside, diving it in. Wheel-to-wheel contact. Bit forceful, but he moves through. There's Vermeux. Here's Nortek and Schulz, then Switchback and Red Devil. That's the top 5. Schulz. Trying to line something up perhaps on Nortek. It is going to be tough to make a move though through this middle sector. Schulz might be patient. Just wait for the right moment to try and overtake the car ahead. As we go through the chicane of turn 6 and 7. Some of those in the mid-pack are now starting to catch up a little bit to this leading group. We've got a bit of separation between Brody and Warren. But other than that, this midfield pack goes from P2 all the way down to P8. Down the inside goes Schulz, trying to take second. Can't get it done though at turn 12. He's looking around the outside at 13. Wheel-to-wheel contact between the two cars as we head up towards the final corner. Schulz down the inside, Nortek round the outside. Vermeux sets a new fastest lap. Schulz moves into second place. Nortek in the slipstream, so is Switchback. He's now drawing alongside the Mercedes. Looking down the inside at turn 1. Schulz sending it round the long way. Switchback trying to follow. Down the hill. Switchback getting alongside Nortek. He gets in front of Nortek and takes P3. Maybe a slight bit of contact between those two cars. But all in all, a nice pass. With a good bit of battling between this leading group. As Wingett pits in again. Brody, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Still a long way to go from here to the checkered flag. As this leading group go through the turn 6-7 chicane. Everyone line astern, no one trying to go for any sneaky overtakes. Not that you really can through this middle sector, to be fair. Down towards turn 12. Everyone playing a very sensible game. Kryptonic goes down the inside, moves into P9. Warren tries to fight back. Can't quite get it done though. Not around the outside. Be too tough to do on tyres. Nowhere near as grippy as those mediums. Red Devil trying to make a move here on Nortek. He's looking. Trying to go around the outside. Now Saint gets involved. Running wide is Devil. Nortek's compromised. He had a very narrow line at the exit. So here comes Saint down the inside. A little bit of contact. The Alpine gets loose and moves down to P6 as a result. That was very nice calculated driving there from Saint as Cheesehead gets by Nortek as well. Saint waiting for an open a window of opportunity, went straight through it. It was a bit iffy between himself and Nortek. But considering the racing I've seen so far, it's all been pretty good. And there has been minor pieces of contact here and there. It's just a shame that it unsettled Nortek's car so much that he ended up losing more than just a position to Saint. Brody right behind his teammate, unable to find a way through. Switchback 6/10 behind, can't find a way past Schulz. He'll have DRS, he'll close up the gap, but I don't think he'll be close enough to attack into turn 1. Can't do it, stays behind. That's Saint. Very much in the fight now for P2 on track as Brody gets by his teammate Nortek. That's for P7. Now head around the sweeper of turn 2. Round turn 4 up towards turn 5. Everything in the top 2 has shrunken ever so slightly down to 1.9 seconds. Vermeux's not using any battery, that much is obvious. He's still got a full charge. Perhaps he's backing off to help his teammate. Make sure that Switchback can't attack and maybe more importantly Saint can't get close. Saint does look pretty fast at the moment. Car looking good. Nortek under pressure again, this time from Kryptonic who goes down the inside at turn 12. Again, slight pieces of contact here and there. The move is made. Kryptonic's up to 8th. And the move's properly backing off. His teammate get close. Perhaps Vermeux has a plan of keeping Schulz in the slipstream. That way they can try and maintain a Mercedes 1-2 out on track. That'll be my only guess. Round turn 4 up towards turn 5. Yeah, I'm assuming it is a bit of games going on between Vermeux and Schulz. Just trying to keep Switchback and Saint at bay. See now the gap's pretty well neutralised at about 8/10. And Vermeux's got enough battery where if he makes a mistake he can dump it to make sure he maintains track position. Yeah, I think with the situation that Vermeux's got, you're right, he could probably take off into the distance. He's electing to slow down to keep his teammate in the tow. Or switch back under attack. Saint having a go. Gets it done pretty easily thanks to the power of DRS. So Saint's up to 3rd. Bit of a lock up there from the Red Bull. Schulz. Yeah, just sitting half a second behind. He's got plenty of battery himself. But by keeping Schulz within DRS range, it will mean that Saint, even if he gets DRS, he won't get that same advantageous effect as it normally would when the car in front doesn't have DRS. That way, Saint has a harder time moving up into P2. Definitely not impossible for him to move up, just a bit harder. Down towards turn 12. Braking hard down to 3rd gear. Back on the power. You head around turn 13. 6/10 to margin, 7/10 to margin. DRS open on that Mercedes, closing the gap up. Not by enough to attack, obviously, but allowing Schulz to gain that extra straight line speed to keep Saint at bay. We've got a leading train forming. Vermeulen, Schulz, Saint, Switchback in P4, Red Devil P5, and Cheesehead in P6. Half a second. The Moon maintaining that gap. And they're both maintaining battery pretty well. Both of them in the 90s compared to Saint down at 27%. So no, some interesting gamesmanship then between our top three. Particularly between the two Mercedes. Going to be really, really tough for Saint to try and make a move. He is closing though. Having a look down the inside. Does he send it? He has to. Down the inside of turn 1. Forces Schulz a bit wide and he takes the position. An aggressive move. But for the sake of a race win, it's a move that had to be done. So Saint up to second. Does Vermeulen turn on the afterburners now? Look at that. He's used up a decent amount of battery already. Already 14% used. He's been sitting at 100 quite comfortably. But Saint, he had the speed down the main straight. Had the brakes as well at turn 1. And he moves in front into P2. With his sights firmly set now on the race leader as Nortec gets a 3-second time penalty. But as you can see, with Vermeulen's extra pace, he's been saving. Been able to extend that margin a little bit between himself and Saint up to 8.5 tenths, but it's not enough. Saint will stay in DRS range. Ooh, DRS detection zone is at the final corner. Has Vermeulen done enough? No, is the answer. He has not. But down the main straight, Saint will get DRS. He will gain a little bit here. He'll gain a fair chunk actually. He'll gain 3/10 almost. Down that straight alone. Down towards turn 2. Can't gain the same amount of time. Obviously, much shorter straight. Saint, he's given it some, and I reckon Vermeulen is now giving it some in response. Schulz hanging on to P3. Got Switchback behind, followed by Red Devil. Further back we have Brody and Kryptonic, separated by half a second. Here's our leading duo, Vermeulen and Saint. Round turn 10, round turn 11, up towards turn 12. Saint, he needs to creep within that 1 second range again. This needs to be a pretty well spot on final sector. I don't think he's going to get it. No, he should miss out. He does miss out. Down the main straight away. No DRS. Very, very little battery left compared to Vermeulen, who's sitting at a much more comfortable 75% battery. Advantage Vermeulen, that's for sure. Oh, big slide there for Schulz. Switchback closes the gap. Won't be close enough to attack here at turn 2. But Schulz will be feeling the pressure. Needs to keep his eyes forward. Can't be too worried about the AlphaTauri behind. First of all, that AlphaTauri has a penalty next to his name. It will affect him quite dramatically at the end of the race as he kicks out sideways. So Switchback, a little mistake himself, and the gap increases to 1 second between himself and Schulz. Round turn 10. Yeah, you wonder. They're saving up a lot of battery, the pair of them, compared to everyone else. 16% for Saint, switch back down on 11. The Red Devil's doing pretty well for himself, 81. Cheesehead, 16. 100% for Brody. 52% for Kryptonic. 65 for Nortec. 10 for Warren and 25 for Wingeteer. He's just trying to survive. Here are your race leaders separated by 1.7 seconds. Definitely more cloud cover now than what there was a few laps ago, but I don't think we're going to see any wet weather conditions. Down the hill, round turn 3. Up towards turn 4. Oh, switchback, gee whiz. Using all of the runoff area there at the exit of turn 4. You want to be careful doing that. Runoff area isn't anywhere near as smooth as the racetrack. A lot of bumps, a lot of big bumps. Could really unsettle the car. So Schulz has pulled a small margin over switchback. He's still saving up that battery. He's been very, very frugal with it. They head around turn 13, up towards the final corner. Six laps to go here at Budapest. This is the main battle we have to keep our eyes on. The battle for third. Schulz currently winning the battle, and switchback not doing himself any favours. Missing turn 1. Red Devil closes in. Using up that battery, looking around the outside here at turn 2. Or contact between the two cars. Switchback parking the car on the apex. Red Devil smashing into it. Don't think there's any damage on the Williams, not that I can tell anyway. Front looks pretty much intact. But that little battle has resulted in Schulz gaining a 1.3 second margin and keeps increasing. Saint 3 seconds behind. I think at this point he'll be accepting second place. He's got margin to Schulz, so he doesn't have to worry about that Mercedes. The switchback, well, he's got a lot of work to do to try and catch up. So perhaps he might be focused now on trying to keep P5 as we have a change for position here between Kryptonic and Brody. Making our way down the main straight. Kryptonic with DRS making that move around the outside. He gains himself P7. And he pulls away from Brody as well down that main straight. Three seconds to gap. The Moo should be in cruise control mode. I said that a few races ago in Brazil, and something very bad happened in Brazil. You'd be looking not to repeat that same performance. Schulz in P3 has not touched that battery. Look at it, at full charge. And the gap has actually shrunk as a result between Schulz and switchback. Now down to a second. Red Devil unable to find a way through on that AlphaTauri. He is still in 5th. Around turn 13, up towards the final corner. Switchback. Yeah, I don't think he'll be able to finish third unless something dramatic happens. Does have a time penalty next to his name, 3 seconds to be exact. So he and Cheesehead are actually pretty even. Actually dead set even in terms of penalties. Both of them with 3 seconds. So they're both fighting for track position, but Cheesehead's a bit too far behind to really try and fight switchback or Red Devil at the moment. If he can get his head down and try and knock down that gap, get in the fight in the dying laps, and perhaps he might be able to grab a top 5 finish. Right now he's looking at a P6 result here at Hungary. Through the chicane, there's Schulz, switchback, Red Devil and Cheesehead. All of them line astern, making their way through the middle sector. Down towards turn 13. Down to second gear. Short shift up to third. Reaches full power. Head around the final corner and back onto the main straight away. 3 laps to go here at Budapest, and we might see a change of position here. Devil is close. Looks to the inside. Switchback covers hard. Devil with that inside line. Switchback fighting around the long way. DRS open on both cars. Switchback has the inside line heading into turn 2. Devil's going to try and sweep around the long way as we head down towards turn 3. The Williams driver has the inside line. He has the dominant position. He moves through into 4th. All the while Cheesehead closes in. He has an opportunity to try and battle Switchback for 5th place. Race leader, 4.4 seconds in hand. Used up some of that battery. Still got plenty in reserve though. He's in complete control. Saint keeping it cool out there. Schulz doing the same. And now Red Devil, he's closed in a little. Schulz still has the advantage. He has track position. He's got way more battery to use as well. We head around the final sweeper once again. Devil, does he have DRS? He does. How much can Red Devil gain down this main straight? Well, at the moment he's not gaining anything. Schulz actually pulled away without DRS. He must have used a fair chunk of that battery. You can see now he's down to 50%, just over 50%. So Schulz, he's been saving up that battery, and even though Red Devil had DRS, he actually gained 0 time. He lost time. Nortec setting a new fastest lap at 18.2. Red Devil not giving up though. Still within a second of the Mercedes. Head around turn 9, up towards turns 10 and 11. Devil still in touching distance, but Schulz has all the battery in the world to play with. He should be able to hang on. Devil, he has a little bit left over. I don't think it will be enough. The leader begins the final lap. Lap 35 of 35 here at Budapest. Saint using up whatever battery he's got left because he can. Red Devil, DRS open. Closing the gap. Not by enough to attack into turn 1 though. But he is close. Much closer than what he was last lap. Dumping that battery again with DRS. Cuts down the gap to half a second. Still not quite close enough to attack the Mercedes. Schulz is hanging on and he still has battery to spare. Round turn 4, Devil closes the gap. But now we head through the tricky middle sector. It is incredibly tough to pass through here. Through 6, through 7. Round turn 8, Switchback a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Well, that's it for Switchback. He won't be finishing in the top 5 now. He'll give that to Cheesehead. Schulz has enough margin in hand, just enough margin. Vermeulen has plenty of margin. He'll make his way around the final corner and back onto the main straight. Vermeulen will win the Hungarian Grand Prix. Saint, he'll come home in P2. And Schulz will indeed hang on to the final podium spot in 3rd. Holding off Red Devil. was only 4.5 tenths behind. Cheesehead 5th in front of Kryptonic, who ends up gaining a place. Brody crashes out. Did he actually cross the line? His dot's awfully close. Can't despawn, so I think he actually crashed out before crossing the line. I think. Driver of the day given to Kryptonic. Time for the podium celebrations. It's another victory for Vermu, a fine drive here at Budapest, winning the Hungarian Grand Prix. Saint coming home in P2 and Schulz completing the podium places in third. A double podium for Mercedes. So, the unofficial results then of this Hungarian Grand Prix. Vermu is your race winner in front of Saint. Schulz in P3 in front of Red Devil, Cheesehead, Kryptonic, Switchback, Warren, Nortec and Brody down in P10. So he is indeed classified down in 10th. And finish in front of Wingett. So yeah, I do believe he crashed out just before crossing the finish line. So he'll end up only scoring a point. Other retirements include Drip's Mindset and Hunger. So we started with 13, we ended with, 11 classified. Nortec with fastest lap, 2 Mercedes on the podium. Vermu taking the win, and I believe that also secures Mercedes AMG the Teams Championship for this season. Oh, that was flat out. Another week, another race. Not bad. Considering we had only 13 for the event, it wasn't a bad race. Final congratulations to our top 3 as well. A congrats to Vermu on another race win. But I think, folks, with everything said and done, it's now time for us to wrap up the stream. I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and we won't be seeing you next week. We'll be having our final break week of the season before we get ready for the final few rounds of the championship. So instead we'll see you in a fortnight's time for round 15 of the AM1 championship at Lusail International Circuit for the Qatar Grand Prix. Should be a lot of fun. Till next time though, it's goodbye.